Hey Busters, welcome back to another Digimon card game video. Having joined tons of tournaments in the month of August, I figured I'd go over the various popular builds for each color in the current metagame, for those interested. In my previous video, I went over the two types of purple decks, Pure Purple and Hybrid Yellow, so for today, I thought I'd go over the current deck color that is winning tournaments nationwide, as well as catapulting the price of Omegamons through the roof. While there are two variations to Omegamon decks, Omega Red is currently dominating, and it's easy to see why. While there are tons of Omega Reds being run, people who don't want to spend 3,000 plus or 3,000 yen plus for a single copy of Omegamon do have cheaper options. However, Red currently plays all the same generally, regardless if you play Omegamon or not. Early game, Red plays more defensively, building up their level 3s to level 5s, rather than risk losing security checks against security Digimon. Usually, this is where you would play your 4-cost Taichis to ensure a 3 memory per turn if you drew into it, or Groundramons for a quick level 5 for its low cost. By mid-game, your Digimon generally have enough DP to survive most security Digimon, as well as surviving counterattacks while it's resting. Assuming you are on tempo, you should already have a level 6 up and running by now, capable of checking security for 2 or more from the various EOEs you get. Late mid-game or early late game is where Omegamon comes out if it hasn't already. By now, your opponent will have most likely set up their own side of the field or are on the verge of defeat from your constant strong attacks. With Omegamon's high DP and its 2 amazing effects, you should see little resistance as the opponent would have probably already used their utility cards or Digimon with removal effects during mid-game to try to prevent Omegamon from coming out. So long story short, Red, at its core, focuses on building up Digimon with high DP and security attacks, with a security attack plus 1 or 2 effects, to win with only attacking once or twice, as they generally never lose security checks against security Digimon. So now, I'd like to go over and explain the various key cards in Red decks, as well as popular options that are also being run. First up is Omegamon, with the highest DP in the game and an instant destruction upon evolution of any one opponent Digimon, and getting to attack twice on its first attack. It's no wonder why Omegamon is so strong. However, he does have 2 slight weaknesses. The first is that it's a level 7, meaning it requires a level 6 to utilize, a level 6 to utilize is 2 amazing effects. Without a evolution origin, he can't actually use it, making it not worth playing for its 15 play cost. While it's not much of a weakness, it does allow the opponent time to figure out when an Omegamon might be played, making your level 5 and 6s more prone to be destroyed ASAP. The second weakness is its huge 6 evolution cost, which usually means the opponent has to end, or rather you have to end your turn before you can attack with it, often giving your opponent some extra memory to work with. If your opponent had a removal card in their hand, your investment just went up in smoke. For Omega Red decks, you'd run 4 copies, but for budget versions or other Red variants, you'd run 2 or less. To play the key card Omegamon, Red decks have a variety of different level 6 Digimons to choose from. But surprisingly, Volcanic Dramon, a common card from set 2, is a fan favorite. Here, Volcanic Dramon's main claim to fame is its low cost and great effects. Having a play cost of 11, you are guaranteed to be able to play it on your turn. Not only that, it comes with the effect of destroying all opponent Digimon with 4,000 DP or less when you play it, and it comes with security attack plus 1. Generally, decks run 2 to 4 copies of this, depending on what other level 6 options the player feels like. The remaining options are, for the most popular ones, Booster Set War Greymon for its option jamming ability, Starter Ho-Omon for its cheap 2 evolution cost and high DP of 12,000, and Dukemon for its destruction and anti-purple effects. For level 5s, Omega Reds run tons of vanilla Digimon. The reason for this is that vanilla Digimon gain high DP or low memory costs at the expense of having no effects or EOEs. Depending on what the player feels is more valuable for their playstyle, the copies of which vanilla Digimon they choose to include will vary. So, for the different types that you can choose from, Groundramon is used for its incredibly low play cost of 5. Here, Groundramon is used purely as evolution fodder, allowing you to bypass level 3s and 4s by paying a low memory cost of 5. This means that just playing a memory cost of 5, and next turn you can already hit 6, meaning you can get to Omegamon really quickly. While it does have a much higher play cost of 7, Lavagarimon is used, however, for its low evolution cost of just 2, while it comes with a high DP of 8,000. Metal Tyrannomon, while having a high play cost and high evo cost, it does sport an incredibly high 10,000 DP. Finally, Skull Greymons are also splashed in for its blocker destroying ability. Here, because it's generally played for its effect, Skull Greymons are usually only run at 2 to 3 copies. For level 4s, the staples are Starter Greymon for its incredible security attack plus 1 EOE. With Red focusing on minimum attacks to end games, security attack plus 1 effects is incredibly vital, especially given Omegamon is able to attack twice. So, obviously Starter Greymon is maxed out at 4 copies per deck. Dark Tyrannomon is also maxed out at 4 for its incredible low evo cost of 1 and having an incredibly high DP of 6,000 as a level 4. Dark Tyrannomon is also run in 3 to 4 copies, depending on what you have. Quadramons, being the only red blocker, is also splashed in and generally run between 2 to 4 depending if you want a purely aggressive or you want a slight defensive build too. And finally, Booster Set 1 Greymon is also played for its great EOE of giving you plus 2,000 DP. Add this to the Metal Tyrannomon and you have a 12,000 DP level 5. So most people run 2 or less depending on which they feel is more valuable. For the level 3s, Starter Agumon is a staple as it gives plus 1000 DP as its EOE, meaning you generally run 4 copies of this, as well as 4 copies of Booster Set 2 Biomon for its plus 1 memory when it's destroyed on your turn. The remaining level 3 slots are generally up to personal preferences, but generally people tend to stick to Digimon that evolve for a cost of 0, or Monodromon for its low 2 cost to play. For option cards, as it's a red deck, you only have one option, and that's Gaia Force. And easily enough, it's always 4 per deck, no questions asked, as it's the only card that destroys any Digimon with no requirements. And it's great in your hand or security pile. And for Tamers, you would run 2 to 3 copies of Booster Set 1 Taichi for its minimum 3 memory start, as well as its extra security attack plus 1 effect. So, from these core cards, you can see just how Omega Red decks, or Red in general, have a playstyle of focusing on giant DP hits that can end games in 2 or 3 hits. With an evolved Omegamon, it can check security 2 times on its first attack from its when attack ability, and if it has Greymon EOE of giving an extra security plus 1, it can hit for 4 security checks. Combine this with the Taichi if it fully evolved, and you can hit for 6. For those playing against an Omega Red deck, here are some strategies that you could use. One overall strategy, not just against Omegamon Red decks, is limiting how much memory you give the opponent. Unless they can pull out a Taichi or a Tamer that gives them plus 3 memory on their turn, restricting them to 1 memory per turn is huge, as this restricts them to only being able to play 1 card per turn, slowing them down enough to chip away at their security while building up your own army, forcing them to rethink their strategy and making careless mistakes. Another key point to capitalize on is destroying their Digimon whenever you get the chance. While you may think trading 1 for 1 might not be a good idea at the time, remember, Red has a monopoly on high DP Digimon. If you aren't running Red and you can trade 1 for 1, do it. Omega Red decks need to evolve into Omegamon, meaning they need to get out level 5s and 6s, and those aren't cheap to evolve into. And they don't run that many copies, meaning the more you destroy the earlier on you can, the less you have to worry about. Plus, if they do manage to evolve, you're honestly not going to be able to destroy them once they hit level 5 or level 6 in terms of DP, as Red will have the advantage. So yeah, that's the breakdown of how the current championship winning Red decks work. Anyway, thanks for sticking around until the end. I hope you found this video useful, and as usual, let me know in the comment section below your thoughts, opinions, and questions. Buster-kun here, signing off as a little Buster.